today we're going to take a look at the classification policies. We're going to take a look at finding classification data as well, and then creating custom policies. This is going to be a three-part series, so we're going to focus today just on the classification policies, and then what are the key takeaways? So we're going to see the value and power of the Aparavi classification engine. So it is the most comprehensive, advanced classification tool you're ever going to see. It's going to easily help you locate your high-risk data types, and then obviously, if the need arises to build your own classification policy, we make that very simple for you as well. So let's take a look at the classification engine today. So the main dashboard here with Aparavi is made to be very user-friendly, provide some pretty quick analytics around the data. So this is your main dashboard, and this is also customizable. So when we talk about policies and classification, we're going to go into policies here and then click on classification. And what you're going to see is the classification policies, and then it's going to show you a list of any classification policies that are active, and at this point there are none. So we're going to go in and say add predefined classification. So what we've done here is, because we have over 140 different classification policies that are complete, we wanted to make this as easy for anybody in the world to look up their policies that's important to them. So if you're a GDPR country, or if you're in US federal finance or a health department or some state and local education, or if you're just looking for US PII information, it's pretty easy to find your country of origin. So we'll just hit these little drop down arrows for the United States, and this is where the US personal and sensitive data is. So we've got driver's license policies, passport, personal data, and sensitive data policies as well. So we've seen in the past when I do my my podcast around the personal data and sensitive data, what the difference is. So personal data would be your driver's license, your email address, your phone numbers, your addresses, whereas the sensitive data is like that biometric information, like your high school education or your religious preference or your gender or whatever. So that's the difference. And GDPR policies also will encompass both of those policies as well. So if I wanted to enable these two policies, I simply just put a checkbox in here. So I'm also going to look at the health, the HIPAA Act as well. So as we go through here, you'll see that we have lots of different policies for even breaking them down into US government and state policies as well, like California CCPA. So very simple to find and enable your policies. Once they're enabled, you can hit save, and then you're going to see that the 4 policies now are here. And if we wanted to see what actually makes up these policies, we can simply click edit on, say, the HIPAA policy. So the HIPAA policy itself, the green boxes are conditions. So these are your operators, your ands, ors, nots. And then in the white, you're going to see that these are the actual patterns that make up the policy. So with this particular HIPAA policy, there's, I believe, some 60 different patterns that are here, or maybe around 40 different patterns that are actually making up the complete HIPAA policy. So once you click on the little boxes up here, or the patterns, you're going to see over to the right that there is a description, and there's also a confidence level. So the confidence level will allow you to adjust, raise or lower to either get more results or get more specific results based on what you're looking for. So the lower the confidence level, the wider the range that you're going to be able to look for. So, obviously, if you go too low, you could get some false positives, but 75 seems to be good. And if you raise it, then you're actually going to be looking for exact matches of the specific patterns that are built in. So there's a give or take here. So it's very flexible in what you can do. Also, we have medical content, which is like your terminology for medical. So we've got a low, medium, and high. So the low is like your generic, very, very low use terminology. like maybe leg or arm, and then you get into the medical content, which might be like blood or cells or something like that, and then you go into the medical content high, which might be your specific terminology for the specific healthcare related issues, like the names of something, which could be pretty technical. But also, if you just scroll down, you'll see that this policy is actually pretty big. Over here, we start getting into the personal privacy information, which is this date of birth, your routing numbers for your banks, your medical IDs, your provider numbers, addresses, whatever, and then you get into credit card number, health insurance number. So it's a very complex policy, and you can take these policies and build your own policies with all these patterns, because we have exposed these to the end users as well. So anyway, so that is how we enable classification. So now you can see that there are now 4 different policies that are active. So any data coming into the system today will simply be checked against these classification policies. So what did we learn? So classification is going to be your key to successful data governance. So with classification, you're going to be able to quickly find and locate your classification data based on the tag that we put on to the files. It's ease of use for any user at any level, right? And so any user can specifically grab at the top level of the organization all the way down to the source level and choose classification policies that they want by just simply expanding out the different groups and clicking the checkbox. And from then on, it's going to be enabled for that source. And in the future, in a future webinar here, we're going to look at how we build the custom classifications as well.